A little best of both worlds there. What was your reaction to Jerry's quote that the Cowboys actually are a winning team?
Yeah, there were a lot of coaches that won a lot of games that got sent packing. So I guess maybe that isn't the key component to staying a Dallas Cowboy. Now, there's been one thing that's been consistent there, and that's the general manager or de facto general manager. And look, it's not going to change. And I understand that he wants to buffer the fact that they haven't won significant playoff games there with their winning percentage. But you just can't have it both ways. You can't move on from people who've won a lot of games because they don't win playoff games, and then come back to your fan base and say, "Hey, we win a lot of games."
Right. By a pretty fair metric, over the last 30 years, they have been the least successful team in their entire conference.
Yes.
They are the only team in the conference to not make a conference championship game. This is an old graphic I used to, which
I
is
love this graphic.
If you do a gold medal means you won the Super Bowl, a silver medal means you lost the Super Bowl, a bronze medal means you lost a conference championship game. Now that the Lions and the Commanders up until 2 years ago were alongside the Cowboys in this group, but the Lions and the Commanders both made a conference championship game in the last 2 years. Every other team in the conference has been to the Final Four at least once. And in fact, every other team in the conference except for the Commanders and Lions have been to the Final Four multiple times. And 12 of the teams in the conference have been to the Super Bowl. And I'm doing this on the fly, I should have done it earlier. 9 of the teams have been to multiple Super Bowls. So by the postseason success standard, they are the least successced team
It's 30
of
years.
their
It's not
in
like,
the entire conference.
And there's only been one constant.
Yeah, I mean isn't that remarkable?
yeah.
Go ahead, Bruce. Sorry.
No, it's just a load of poppycock. I mean, that's what it is. Like, that's what it is. Like, I agree with Nick, your graphic. We don't measure. It's great that you win 12 games. They had the 3 straight years, 12 wins. They had some other wins. Right. It's about winning the Super Bowl. That's it. And that goes for any of the sports. Baseball's a little different because, you know, the sport is a sport of failure, and sometimes a lot of times the best team doesn't win. But him throwing in, because I listened to his whole quote, where he was saying, you know, sometimes a team gets hot at the end of the season and, you know, they win the Super Bowl. One, only the good teams make the playoffs, so that's not really that true. But secondly, it's an indictment that they have won so many regular season games. It's an indictment on the organization, the culture, sometimes the coach and the players, that when you get to the big games in the playoffs, you couldn't even once get to the conference championship
It's the most anti-SBOB sentiment that's ever existed.
They're not actually SBOB.
Right.
I mean, that's what it takes it away.
Yeah. I mean, that's Rem. Isn't that remarkable? You can, yeah. Go ahead, Bruce. Sorry. No, it's just a load of poppycock. I mean, that's what it is. Like, I agree with Nick, your graphic, that we don't measure. It's great that you win 12 games. They had the 3 straight years, 12 wins. They had some other wins, right? It's about winning the Super Bowl. That's it. And that goes for any of the sports. Baseball's a little different because, you know, the sport is a sport of failure, and sometimes a lot of times the best team doesn't win. But him throwing in, because I listened to his whole quote where he was saying, you know, sometimes a team gets hot at the end of the season and, you know, they win the Super Bowl. One, only the good teams make the playoffs. So that's not really that true. But secondly, it's an indictment that they have won so many regular season games. It's an indictment on the organization, the culture, sometimes the coaches, the players, that when you get to the big games in the playoffs, you couldn't even once get to the conference champion. The most anti-ESOB sentiment that's ever existed, they're not actually especially, yeah. A thing like this really actually kind of drives me crazy. I feel for Dallas Cowboys fans because, first off, I know you don't want to hear it, but like, this is over the last 30 seasons. as Nick talked about, the most successful team in the NFC over the last 30 years has been the Philadelphia Eagles. The other team in your division, your biggest rival. That's a real thing that you have to accept, that you have to wrestle with. 2 Super Bowl wins, 2 Super Bowl losses, 4 NFC championship losses. So they've been in there. And I have another graphic that I'll show you guys as well, but the Cowboys obviously 0 Super Bowl wins, 0 Super Bowl losses, 0 conference championship appearances. And you can say, though, we're the 6th or 7th winningest team in NFL over Doc Brava. And people always, anytime you ever bring this up, they always say, yeah, but we got, how many Super Bowls do we have? Why do you only want to start the last? What about with Troy Amon? Blah, blah. And it's just like, that was amazing. That was amazing. AOL wasn't even invented. For some of you young guys, AOL was like the internet before the internet. All right? Used to get little CDs sent in your mail. Used to use them as frisbees. But yeah, is that always going to be the standard of what you did like 30 plus years ago? That's always going to be the fallback? Doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. And to me, this is the more important. I mean, this is actually a very well done as well. But so, in the last 25 years, since 2000, 25 years, this is playoff wins. The Philadelphia Eagles have 20. The New England Patriots with Tom Brady have 30. And then again, so the second best team during that run is the Philadelphia Eagles. The team that's in your division, your biggest rival. And you got the Chiefs at 18, the Ravens at 18, Steelers at 15, Packers 15, Seahawks 14, 49ers 14, Colts 13, Giants 11. Another obviously NFC East team, Rams 11, Saints 10, Buccaneers 9, Panthers 8, Bills 7, Broncos 7, Texans 6, Falcons 6, Jets 6, the Cardinals 5, the Bengals 5, the Chargers 5, the Titans, the Tennessee Titans 5, the Minnesota Vikings, the Jacksonville Jaguars 4, the Dallas Cowboys are bottom 7 in the NFL in playoff wins in the last 25 years with 4-4. I mean, they won in 2009. Hooray. They won in 2014. Hooray. They won in 2018. Hooray. And they won in 2022. Hooray. I mean, I don't know, I don't know what to tell you. And this is what's always frustrating too, because this is where people make stuff up. People will say, well, the defense always lets them down. This was against the San Francisco 49ers. They held them to 19 points. This was a top offense in the NFL. And the Dallas Cowboys scored 12 points. Dak Prescott had, what do you have, like 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions? Yeah, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and a passer rating of 63.6. I mean, he held Brock Purdy to 0 touchdowns, 19 for 29. He had an 87.4 passer rating. I mean, it's not like Christian McCaffrey went off for 1,000,000 yards here. He had 22 receiving, 35 rushing. It's not like he just feasted like it was, nothing. Debo had 45 yards. Again, not like that was anything, It's not like you just were like, we got cooked. I mean, it was Debo, Christian McCaffrey in their prime. No. Not at all. You had Ezekiel Elliott. You had CeeDee Lamb. You had Dak Prescott. I mean, even the year before with the 49ers, 23 with Jimmy Garoppolo, 23 points. I mean, Jimmy G had 172 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a 67.44 passer rating. Dak Prescott, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Zuck Elliott was there. Tony Purr was there. CeeDee Lamb. Amari Cooper. So comments like this are just always so absurd because they serve a very general fan base, not the real people who are truly watching football, who truly care, who truly expect their teams to win. These are for the people. The Yankees have this more than they're the most like frontward facing of this type of fan base because it's obviously so massive, so large, it's literally international. They won so many World Series, so many games that you're just like part of that, right? You're just like, this is what the Yankees are. They have been a top team forever. Like none of the other actual details like really matter. When's the last time you won a World Series? What have you been doing in the playoffs? Like all that type of stuff. It's just I wear Yankees hat. I'm a Yankees fan. Doesn't matter if I live in, in Florida, in England, like just whatever. Yankees hat, it's like it's a symbol. And the Dallas Cowboys obviously have a massive, massive, massive fan base, largest fan base. And so when you're talking about the general fans who like, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, and you say like we're the 6th or 7th winningest team in the NFL over Dak and Romo's tenure, and it's like, well, okay, I mean, again, and I just keep referencing the Eagles just because they're the main rival. They're in the NFC East. And it's like, okay, well, since Dak Prescott has been the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, the Philadelphia Eagles have won 2 Super Bowls. They have more Super Bowl appearances than Dak has playoff wins. So even if you want to say that you're the 6th or 7th winningest team over Dak and Romo's tenure, like even if you want to say, okay, that's true, well, then you would have to concede that the Eagles are even better than you. And you don't want to concede that. You don't want to accept that. You can't say that they do. Are you going to say that they draft better than you? That they build better teams than you? That they have better quarterbacks? That they're better coach? Like, and if that's the case, well, then it's not like the Eagles got, it's not like the Eagles had like a Mahomes or a Bree, right? Then you could be like, well, listen, they got one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And so we've been incredibly successful, but like, yeah, of course there's going to be this team in our division that's better than us over this stretch because it's Tom Brady, it's Patrick Manson. That's not the case. That's not the case. Nick Foss has more playoff wins than Dak Prescott. I mean, Nick Foss with the Philadelphia Eagles. Nick Foss has the same number of playoff wins as Tony Romo and Dak Prescott combined. Nick Foss has the same number of playoff wins as the Dallas Cowboys have as a whole in the last 25 years. Jalen Hurts himself individually in 3 years has more playoff wins than Dak and Romo combined than the entire Dallas Cowboys over the last 25 years. That has to mean something that has to drive you insane. That's why I'm really emphasizing the whole Eagles play, because it should, if it was the Rams or the Packers or the Bucks or somewhere else, then it wouldn't hit as hard. But like something like this should drive you crazy. I know very well if you're a Giants fan or a Commanders fan or something, and the Cowboys were at the top, or an Eagles fan and the Cowboys were at the top, that would drive them insane. They would be like, how are we letting this happen? How are we letting this other team in our division dominate? Why is it that their backup quarterback has more playoff wins than our 10-plus year starters, or, whatever the heck the timeline is? And I know a lot of Cowboys fans believe that Dak Prescott's a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. And it's like, okay, let's say that's true. Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl MVP, and you're like, well, the Eagles have a better team. And it's like, okay, so then you're conceding that they build a better team, like that they have better coach it, right? Like that. So no matter how you want to slice it, it becomes unacceptable. It becomes absolutely positively unacceptable. And the only way that you can make sense of it, the only way you can ease the fall, is if you say something like, well, we're the 6th or 7th winningest team in the NFL over this time period. And like, we have all these Super Bowls back in like the 90s. And it's like, that's cool. That's great. But like, what is that supposed to mean right now? I mean, seriously, what does that actually mean? Fast forward 20 years from now, 30 years from now, Kansas City Chiefs say they haven't won a Super Bowl in 20 years. And, there's no Patrick Mahomes in sight, and you got, Billy Bob Smith, who's just a bad quarterback, they're just a bad team. They're the modern day Cleveland Browns. They're going to be like, well, remember all those Super Bowls we won with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid? Those were the good old days. And, everyone's like, yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs are trash. Like, yeah, not in 2019 and 2020 and 21 and 22 and 23 and 24, man. We had it made. They're like, yeah, man, it's 2060 right now. Who cares? Like, that's literally what it's like. It's like, okay, that's great. We didn't even have AI and 3D holograms back then. We weren't watching football games on Mars back then. Who cares? So it's I mean, seriously, put it into the future right now. That might make, because sometimes it's like, well, listen, this is what they did in 1990 or something, right? Like 30 years now. Just go 30 years into the future. It's like you haven't done anything from now until 2055. Okay? 2055. That will be the date. 2055. What do you think this world is going to look like in 2055? Not saying that you haven't won. I mean, like, it's just crazy. So comments like this are ridiculous, absolute utter nonsense, and it only speaks to the people that are not really actually listening. They're not actually really listening. And truthfully, I don't know, this was on some radio show or pro, like, I don't know. Who's really listening to Jerry Jones anyway? Seriously, I mean, like, I'm asking this straight up to Dallas Cowboys fans, and I'll end it here. How many people you're driving, you're listening to the radio, podcast, TV? How many of you guys are actually really like, oh, Jerry Jones is on. I can't wait to hear him. What does he have to say? Like, who's even listening to this? I'd love to know. I really would. I mean, think about how many segments and how many episodes First Things First has, and they're now like 7 hours a day. Do we hear any sound bites from anyone? From the Eagles? From the Packers? From the Giant? I mean, like, none. You don't hear from anyone. Anyone? Anyone. The Chiefs, who have been with, don't hear anything. The Eagles don't hear anything. Rams don't hear anything. Bills, Raven, no, you don't hear anything. And yet we just get a steady flow of Jerry Jones, and it's all essentially nonsense. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Dallas Cowboys? Do you believe, and I mean, I'm seriously asking this question, do you believe that we can consider them the 6th or 7th winningest team in NFL over Dak and Romo's tenure? Just to give you an idea how close this thing is. I'm genuinely curious if that's how you would define it, either as a Dallas Cowboys fan or a non-Cowboys fan. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much.